From Fox 8 Sports, this is the Overtime Podcast.
From the Gulf Coast studios in New Orleans, this is the Fox 8 Overtime Podcast. I am your host, Sean Fazende, riding shotgun as he does each and every podcast. It's Andre Johnson.
Junior.
Do not forget the Junior is very important to remember the JR at the end of the name. Before we get into today's content, be sure to like, to share, to rate, to review. If you are watching on YouTube, do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Get the bell notification for when we drop that
Fire content.
Also, hello, Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network. Glad you have found us here. As I say, please stay here because there's more and more coming here on this wonderful network that's about, a few months old. So
might
stay
have
tuned.
hit a year, honestly, at this point.
Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah.
It's been a while. These months just kind of blur. The months and years go by so fast now. So regardless, if you found us, great. If you know someone that doesn't know us, let them know. And here we are. All right, Andre, it is Friday in the city. It's a beautiful day outside. I got a little outdoor workout today, a little touch of fall. Felt fantastic. So good Friday. Saints, Patriots this weekend. Interesting matchup. We're going to get into that, obviously. But first things first, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. You know, it's Friday, which means we're a day closer to the Saints playing again. I know we're both excited to be in the Dome on Sunday. I've got John Curtis versus Holy Cross that I'm covering tonight from the local front here in New Orleans. So that's always going to be a big game anytime you've got those two teams going head to head. So it's a really exciting Friday in the city. And speaking of exciting, a lot of Saints fans still excited after the first win of the season on Sunday, Sean.
Yeah, I'll just say this real quick. You mentioned the high school game. For those looking for me tonight, I will not be on Fox 8 Football Friday tonight. I have to go to a family wedding. My little cousin's getting married, so I will not be in. Juan Kincaid will be pitch hitting for me. If you watched Fox 8 last night, I pitch hit for him. So appreciate Juan for helping me out with that. I will be back next Friday for Fox 8 Football Friday. Before we get into the big picture, it's funny that you say that because you warned everyone Monday.
I did. I tried.
To make it a victory Monday, not an overreaction Monday. I'm here to tell you, Andre, some people didn't heed that warning. They didn't heed that warning. I mean, just doing the scan that I do, kind of, you do the Saints articles and one thing, and now I really check the Saints podcast space is really something that's become a kind of a thing for me just to kind of really scan through. And I'm seeing thumbnails like Saints Saints found their future franchise quarterback, ? Is Spencer the guy? The future looks bright with Spencer. Saints offense takes huge strides. And I'm just like, did we all watch the same game? I was very happy to see the Saints victory. I was very happy for Kellen Moore. I was very happy for Spencer Rattler. They still only scored 19 points, and they had 4 extra possessions. They still couldn't do anything but score 1 touchdown and could not score when they got into the red zone. They still could not run the football. Andre, am I crazy here? Did I miss something? Because I was at the press conference Wednesday. Game plan Wednesday night, I kind of threw a subtle jab on game plan. I was like, man, what was up with some of the questions from the media today? It was almost like this overwhelming, they've grown so much. Have they really taken that many strides offensively? I don't know, but I was like, man, is this how it's going to be after every victory? Maybe. I guess we'll see.
Man, look, I was scrolling social media, and you see it on social media. I saw one person, a popular NFL account, call Spencer. This is before he won the game. Is Spencer Rattler the greatest 0-11 quarterback of all time? And they were showing like a Spencer Rattler highlight reel, and I'm like, what does that even mean? The Saints found their next franchise quarterback. The Eagles and Jalen Hurts lost last night, and after that loss, I saw somebody tweet out, honestly, I think the Saints have a better quarterback situation than the Philadelphia Eagles, the reigning Super Bowl champions. And I'm like,
I can't even begin. I can't put myself there because I can't even begin to understand what it would be like to have that be my first take after a game that the season the Saints have had, and obviously where the Eagles currently are. But God bless them. That's you're entitled to that feeling.
I'll tell you what, Sean, if that's how they feel after one win, we
could
got
you
another
imagine?
game on Sunday.
Yes.
They're looking for win number 2, and that leads us to the big picture.
Yeah.
Saints going against the New England Patriots at home in the Dome. Would a win over the Patriots change the perception of the Saints season so far?
I think so. I really do. Allow me to explain. Can it change the vibe? just as I wrote it out, and just when you look at it on the standings, 2-4 versus 1-5, it just looks so much different. It just looks so much different, that 2-4 versus that 1-5, even though it's difference of only one game in the standings. But 1-5 just feels ugly. 2-4, it at least feels somewhat like you can somewhat salvage something. But in the Saints' case, getting to 2-4 would mean they would have to get their first win streak since last November. It would have meant, that they got to 2-4 and had to have beaten one of the, up and coming, still dealing with that cough, y'all, up and coming, one of the hotter teams, one of the picks from people like, hey, if there's a team from last year, this year that might make a rise, who would it be? I think a lot of people would have pointed to the New England Patriots, and through 5 weeks, I think they have given people reason for that confidence, and that team is coming off one of the more impressive wins in the entire season last week, a very emotional game in Buffalo, the same place the Saints were at 2 weeks ago. And I will say this, Buffalo played equally as sloppy against the Saints as they did against New England, and look at the difference in the results. Just saying that. That is not an easy place to play. New England was able to do so, go in, and win. And there's always that push and pull. You catch them at the right time. Is it a good time to get them because they were so hot? Now they got to come down for a noon kickoff in the Superdome, a place they hadn't been since 2017, I think was the last time they were here. Then you look at the Saints' schedule and you see a winnable game next week at Chicago, and you start thinking, you know what? Maybe Sean's 6-11 prediction isn't so bad when you talk about Chicago, Carolina twice, Atlanta twice, Tennessee, New York. Would it be crazy if you got to 2-4 to think you couldn't get 4 more victories out of that? Possible. But that's getting way, way, way too far ahead of ourselves. That is a major, major if. If. The Patriots are balling right now. The Patriots are playing well. And they needed that game last week to sort of cross a threshold, cross a bridge, if you will, from a developing team to a team that might be there. Not necessarily a Super Bowl contender, but a team, a force that's going to be around. And you can kind of feel it. What has stood out to me about the Patriots, Andre, and I'm not sure if you've seen this, how much you've really watched them, but how much and just how quickly Mike Vrabel has instilled his identity, what he wants out of a Mike Vrabel team, how quickly he has instilled that onto this year's New England Patriots. It didn't take him a year. It didn't take him a year and a half. It has taken him, feels like 5 weeks to get there. Very tough, very hard-nosed, very much, yeah, you might beat us, but you're going to have to beat us. We're going to get in your face. We're going to challenge you. We're going to press you, and we're not going to back down. And that's the type of identity that you have to last the ins and outs and the rigors of an NFL season. Right now, there's more. You can feel it. But right now, if you asked anyone in the Saints organization, and I'm sorry, we just talked a little bit about the overreaction, so for the people that are overreacting, you're probably not going to like this, but if you ask anyone in the Saints organization, they will tell you they want to feel about their quarterback the way the Patriots feel about Drake May. There is a no-doubter right now when it comes to Drake May. Great performance, obviously, last week over Buffalo, and really was on prime time. It was his first opportunity to really do that, made some great plays, and you just saw a young player kind of arriving on the big stage, and now the Patriots know they have their guy. Now, Spencer Rattler, if you're able to go in, outduel him, and I'm not talking about 200 yards and, 1 touchdown. I'm talking about really outduel Drake May and have a performance where you outplay him. Maybe all of a sudden, a few of the people that are still on the fence about Rattler could maybe start to feel a little bit better about Rattler at that point becoming the future or the franchise, or maybe you start to veer yourself in that direction. But there is a peace of mind. There is a peace, when it comes to the NFL, there is a peace of mind every organization wants, but not every organization has, when internally they feel like they have their guy at that position. It is still very much a question with the Saints. It is not a question with the New England Patriots. So, all that to say, if you're able to overcome all of that and get to 2-4, I think you might hear the narrative change a little bit about the Saints. Not a bottom feeder, not a cellar dweller, or whatever the phrase is, but maybe a team that's going to be a little tougher than we thought. Not a playoff team, but a team that's going to bring it every week. So the Saints have a big opportunity ahead, but it is still going to be a very big challenge. What say you?
Would a win over the Patriots change the perception of the Saints season? Yes, it would. And to find an example of that, Sean, I need to look no further than the team we saw play last night, than the team who the Saints beat on Sunday.
Yep.
The New York Giants. The New York Giants switched to Jackson Dart. They beat an undefeated Chargers team. Then they come to New Orleans and lose to a winless Saints team. So you're looking at Dart, you're looking at the Giants, you're saying, one of those was a fluke.
Right.
One of those wins represents who this team really is. One of those were a fluke. Was the fluke beating the Chargers? Was the fluke losing to the Saints? The Giants had a short week going against a divisional rival, the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, and that game was not close. That game was not close. The Giants blew the Eagles out the water, and you leave that game saying, the Giants have something in Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterboo. The Giants are a young team on the up and coming. In just 4 days, from Sunday to Thursday, they completely changed the perception around the New York Giants as being the team that lost to the Saints, who many people considered to be one of the worst teams in the league at the time, to being a team that in 2 weeks has knocked out undefeated LA Chargers and reigning Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. That's what a win at the right time against the right opponent can do for a team. We just saw it last night with a team that the Saints are very familiar with. So now I look at the Saints and I say that this game on Sunday is the kind of game where you can show who you are. You beat the New York Giants. Many would say you should have beat the New York Giants. Vegas said you should have beat the New York Giants. You and I said you should have beat the New York Giants. I don't think there's the same feeling around this New England Patriots team. The Patriots are a team that's on fire. The Patriots are a team that blew out a Panthers team that was fresh off a 30-0 shutout win over the Falcons. Embarrassed them 42-6. Ran up against the Buffalo Bills, one of the favorites to come out of the AFC. Beat the Buffalo Bills on their home turf. And now they come here, and you mentioned Drake May, you know, and that, again, this is something else for Spencer Rattler. Obviously, as a quarterback, you've got peers, you've got rivals, but those guys who come out in your draft class, it's always a little something extra with them. And we talked about overreactions. I saw someone in our own comments on YouTube saying Spencer Rattler is head and shoulders above all the quarterbacks in his draft class. The same draft class that has Jaden Daniels in it, that has Bo Nix in it, that has Drake May, who right now, as we sit here, incredibly early, but as we sit here, is a MVP candidate. Even Caleb Williams, whose lows have been lower than Spencer Rattler's, but his highs have been much higher than Spencer Rattler. You know, even a J.J. McCarthy, who had that big win on primetime television earlier this season. So I wouldn't. That's crazy to me. But again, you've got Spencer Rattler going against somebody in his draft class, one of his peers, someone who I'm sure he's seen coming up the ranks, not only in the NFL, but in college and in high school, all of that. Remember, Drake May was at North Carolina. Spencer Rattler.
They played each other.
South Carolina. These two quarterbacks are pretty familiar with one another. So for the Saints, I'm looking at you, Spencer Rattler. Build on what you did Sunday. The deep bomb was good. That's the kind of stuff we're looking for from Spencer Rattler. I brought it up on Wednesday. He's 3 for 14 on throws 20 yards, 20-plus yards, air yards. Not from the line of scrimmage, but air yards. So deep passes, he's 3 for 14. I want to see him complete more like he did that dot to Rashid Shaheed on Sunday. Running game, 30 carries for 88 yards? That ain't going to work. That is not going to work. Defense, I want to see consistent pressure. And most of all, the Saints as a whole, can you win a game where your defense does not force 5 takeaways?
That's it.
Because that's the anomaly. You're not going to force 5 takeaways every game. Can you win a game where that doesn't happen? If you can do that on Sunday, just like we're seeing the narrative around the Giants shift after they lost to the Saints, and they beat the Eagles, I think you'll start seeing people look at this Saints team and talk about this Saints team a lot differently.
And there's a lot of intrigue in this matchup because they don't play each other that often. I don't know that you would call this a lot of carryover between, usually you'll have some kind of overlap in any matchup in the NFL. I'm sure there is somewhere, but I haven't necessarily looked that deep into it. And the New England is going to play them differently than everyone else has played them. I'm telling you, if you can't get explosive plays this week, you're going to lose by a lot. The Saints are going to lose by a lot because of the way the Patriots choose to play you on defense, which is in your face, no breathing room between you and the receiver. It's one high safety. It's one guy in a hole. I don't know how. I have to look at their blitz percentage. They mix in like every other team, but it's basically beat us. Find a way to beat us. We're going to run man-to-man with you. So my point is, you're going to have opportunities down the field. You got to connect.
Yep.
And if you do that, and I think New England is number 1 or in the top 5, I believe, in explosive plays allowed. I think Spencer was asked about that in his press conference. It's because they play a lot of man coverage, and they're willing to risk that because they feel like their corners are better than opposing receivers. So you're going to get those opportunities. You got to take advantage. And if you don't take advantage, unlike some other games, I don't think you have a chance. Because if you still try to do the 16-play drive against a team that plays press man and stops the run, because that's their MO, stop the run, get up on these receivers. If they beat us over the top with great throws long, then so be it. That's the Mike Vrabel approach. If you're able to do that, you will have a chance. If you're not able to do that, this game could get ugly. And I think I like what you said there about changing the perception. The Giants are the perfect organization to look at. Because you could somewhat put Dart and Rattler on the same level, even though they're different classes, just because, Rattler's first year was a little bit of a wild card. But this year, you can almost call this his rookie year, and you see Dart come in, week 4, and he's already at, 2-1, and he's really injected that life inside the program. And I know he's done it for some fans, and I know he's done it for some covering the team, but I'm still not convinced he's given this Rattler I'm talking about that feeling about we got our guy. And the only way he's going to get it is by winning games like this against fellow young quarterbacks, something he did last week. Can he build on it and play? To me, he's going to have to play better than he did a week ago to get the win, because last week I thought he played okay, but he's going to have to play better this week for the Saints to get the win.
Yeah, and I said it about 2 weeks ago, I believe, and I still stand by it because it still hasn't happened. Spencer Rattler has yet to have a game that makes me step back and say, wow.
Yeah.
He's had good moments.
I'm ready for it.
He had a couple good moments against San Francisco. Mm-hmm. That bomb to Rashid Shaheed, that was a good moment. But a game where you step back and say, wow, Spencer was something there. And you know what kind of game we're talking about. You've seen it from most quarterbacks in this game, whether you're talking about the elite guys like Mahomes or Lamar, or even the guys who aren't elite, like Bryce Young, week 18 against the Atlanta Falcons. 5 touchdowns. Wow, Bryce Young. Whether you accept Bryce Young is good or not, that was a wild game. That was something, I'm still waiting for that wow game from Spencer Rattler. And I'd like to point out one more thing. This Saints team is sitting at 1-4. This isn't a hapless 1-4 Saints team. When you come to talking about changing the perception and the narrative surrounding this Saints team, a couple weeks ago when they were 0-4, I said they could have very easily been 2-2. They should have beaten the Arizona Cardinals. They had an opportunity going down the field to tie that game, send it into overtime, or if you go for 2, win that game, and they couldn't get the job done. Mm-hmm. They had an opportunity week 2 against the 49ers without their starting quarterback, and they couldn't get the job done. 2 chances to drive down the field and win that game. They couldn't close the deal. So this is a Saints team that even went to Buffalo and was competitive to a degree, So when you look at a 1-4 team, they could very easily be 3-2. Say they win the game on Sunday. 2-4 could easily be 4-2. It's a Saints team that, when we talked about them at the beginning of the year, neither of us expected a lot of wins, but I was more focused on, can you play competitive football? So far they have.
And they've got 5,
they've got an opportunity to do it against a really good, budding, up-and-coming Patriots team. I would like to see it. I'd like to see them pick up another win.
Yeah, I'm not predicting it.
I'm not
I
predicting-
was,
I mean,
I was
I
pretty
wouldn't do
strong
that,
in
but,
predicting it last week with the Giants. I felt it all week. The matchup was good. Both present and historically, it's always been a good matchup with the Saints and the Giants. New England is definitely a little bit of a mixed bag. I think the last time they were here, they beat the Saints, but the last time the Saints were there, last 2 times, I think they won.
We were there the last time.
Yeah,
actually.
Derek
It's a
Carr
shutout.
game, and there was a Jameis game that they won. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. One thing that's going to help, I'm going to read off this injury report, and it's really one name that's important. So out Isaac Yiadom, so obviously Quincy Riley will play. Alvin Kamara questionable, certainly sounds like he's going to go. John Ridgeway questionable. For the Patriots, Antonio Gibson, Jalen Hawkins, Keon White, all out. Anthony Jennings out. This is interesting. Mike Onwenu. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. Christian Gonzalez.
That's their superstar.
That's their superstar. He's got the hamstring issue. He was full. He did not practice, or no, he practiced Wednesday, but was limited Thursday and Friday. And listed as questionable. He is their guy.
That changes a lot.
That changes a lot. I mean, I just talked to you about a lot of that press man coverage. I mean, a lot of that is because they feel like they got one of the best corners in the game. But in Chase Young's case, he's going to play for the Saints. He is going to make his season debut. He's going to be on a pitch count. He's going to be on a snap count. I don't know. I think Cam has played well. I'd like another guy in the rotation. It sounds like Chase Young's going to provide that rotation. I know they've done some nice things rushing the passer, but I think there's more there. Mm-hmm. Can Chase Young be the guy to provide more? Well, they're paying him to be so. So I think this is his first opportunity to get back on the field. Welcome back. But I'm ready for him to make some impact plays.
Yeah, statistically, the Saints are in the upper half or near the top of the league when it comes to sacks, but they're actually near the bottom of the league when it comes to getting pressure on the quarterback, the rate at which you pressure the opposing quarterback. So now you bring in a Chase Young, who's arguably your best pass rusher, and hopefully he can wreak some havoc, especially against a guy like Drake May, who you wouldn't call a mobile quarterback, but he is somebody who
he can escape.
He's got some escapability, and if you let him get out of that pocket, he is very comfortable out there.
He
has the
so
ability
well
to make big plays. I saw one against the Bills on the sideline, just a dime. So yeah, you're gonna have to not only get to Drake May, but do a better job getting him down. And we've seen it throughout this season where the Saints start to get back there, but that quarterback escapes. We saw Josh Allen do it. We saw Kyler do it.
I mean, Dart did it a little bit. Yeah,
Dart do it. Mac Jones did it a little bit. I mean, Sam Darnold did it. Every quarterback the Saints face, they've been able to get to him, but not necessarily get him down. So I'd like to see, I think Chase Young coming back is a big deal. Obviously, Isaac Yiadom being out again. Quincy Riley, not much to say about Quincy Riley last game, which is probably the best thing you can say about a rookie cornerback. If we're not talking about you, that means you probably weren't getting beat.
And one other point, no designation for Ruiz.
Which was crazy.
So I thought he was going to be out for 4 weeks.
The initial report was 4 to 6 weeks for Cesar Ruiz, and now no injury designation.
Point being, the healthiest the Saints offense has ever been. All 5 starting offensive linemen.
I think there's some people who would rather simply.
I know, but still, you got a quality 6.
That's true.
Heck, even Radens is back.
Yeah.
So you've got 2 top reserves and all 5. You got Taysom back, probably with more snaps. Foster back.
Sounds like there's no
Come
excuses.
on. This is their, so they are ready, like from a personnel standpoint, they've got the best version of themselves as well.
And they're coming
Maybe you're catching them at the right time. You got momentum, they got momentum, but they drained a lot. I mean, you saw how much Stephon Diggs was into that. I mean, he drained a lot of energy in that game.
That was personal.
And would you still characterize Stephon Diggs as a 1? Or a high-end 2, low-end 1?
I think he's kind of in that low-end 1, high-end 2. I think, like what you said about Alvin Kamara on Wednesday, I think he can summon greatness. And I think he can play at a great level, but maybe not consistently on a week-to-week basis. That's kind of how I view Stephon Diggs.
Then he got his great one last week.
Yeah, that one last week was personal.
So my point is, because at times, I think the Saints secondary is good as long as they're not facing an opposing 1. JSN from Seattle, clear-cut 1. He destroyed the Saints. Let's be real. I don't know if Buffalo has a true one, but they got,
Not really.
arguably top 2 quarterback
Even
in the
Marvin
NFL, top 1
Harrison had
quarterback.
a good week, and he could have had a much better game if Kyler didn't miss him on a 90-yard touchdown.
And I think he played fairly well against the Saints, Harrison, right?
He
and they had
did.
a couple other guys.
He had a good game.
Juwan, I've always felt like the Niners receivers, I don't know if they have the top end guy, but they have a lot of very good guys. And even with, who was that? Well, Juwan Jennings was in, but Ricky Pearsall was there as well. He played well. So my point is the Saints secondary versus opposition's receivers is always an interesting matchup to watch, because I think personnel-wise, when they match their kind of level of talent, they generally get the best of those receivers. When it's the other way around, you obviously, when those receivers are a little bit better than the Saints secondary, you generally see those guys struggling just because of what they like to do. So this is an intriguing matchup now, especially if Gonzalez doesn't go. Because if Gonzalez doesn't go, then all of a sudden that man coverage I talked about, well, you might be able to hit on a few explosives, because part of the reason why they do the man coverage, the tight man stuff, is because they feel like their guys can win. Yeah. And if they don't have one of the better players, maybe they can't win.
Yeah, and we saw it. I mean, Christian Gonzalez made his season debut against the Panthers 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yeah.
And that was when Teteroa McMillan, the rookie receiver from Arizona, he was kind of really starting to make a statement in this league. T-Mac got shut down by Christian Gonzalez.
Yeah.
I think he got targeted 8 times, caught 2 passes for like 20 yards, completely taken out of the game plan, and it showed with the score. Last week, one of the reasons Josh Allen had so much trouble, because Christian Gonzalez was there, and he was a consistent presence. Christian Gonzalez here, I assume, would guard Olave. Olave, who a lot of the times is the target of those Spencer Rattler short passes. If you've got someone playing press coverage on him, that could change a lot. So we're definitely looking at Christian Gonzalez on that inactive report Sunday, because that could change a lot of things.
With hamstring. Olave's one of his biggest flaws is getting off the jam, so we'll see. Intriguing matchup. I mean, huge opportunity, though, for the Saints. All right, we got to get out of here. Andre Johnson Jr., Sean Fazende. We'll catch you guys next time on Overtime.